Let's see. And okay, wonderful, very good. So for some of you who are not familiar with the format, we'll just start with a guided meditation. You are muted and you're welcome to unmute yourself as this meeting progresses later on. So for now, just be comfortable, sit comfortably. You can either close your eyes or lower your gaze, whatever way you are happy and comfortable to be. And welcome your experience. Your experience is what it is. It precedes whatever interpretations you may have of it. In this moment of being, in this moment of presence, there is no separation. There is no separate person, a separate self, and a separate world in this moment of being. What you refer to as the world is your direct experience right now, whichever way you define it. It is not separate from you in this moment. Your body and the world are the same essence. Because they belong to the same reality. And this reality is not made out of flesh And bones is not made out of atoms or quarks or molecules. It's the other way around. Molecules, atoms, flesh and bones are made out of this reality. Including thoughts, sensations, feelings. They are made out of that same reality. Like waves in the ocean and currents in the ocean are made out of water. So right now your experience, perceptions, sensations, thoughts, images, feelings, they are made out of that same essence, that same reality. And within this reality, there is no separation. You cannot separate a perception from a sensation, from a thought, from a feeling. Only conceptually do we separate, do we classify, categorize conceptually, while in fact, in reality, our experience is indivisible. Our body and the world are inseparable as this reality. Like your right hand and your left hand are inseparable from the body, as a metaphor. Similarly, all aspects of your experience are made out of that reality, which is the I am, a non-objective I am, non-phenomenal I am, and I am aware. Non-phenomenal I am aware. Awareness, aware that it is aware. A certainty of being and the certainty of awareness. Or the certainty of reality. So before you separate yourself as a separate body, a separate mind from the world and from reality, you are inseparable. Meaning your body is one body, a universal body, not a separate personal body. Although the mind separates body A from body B, like we divide the space in the southern and the northern, the eastern and the western, imaginary divisions. In fact, the wide open sky is indivisible, is not, in spite of conceptualizing it into the northern sky and the southern sky, it is one sky. In this moment, you are this indivisible reality. Creatively manifesting and experiencing this experience right now, this perception, this sensation right now. Creating it and perceiving it simultaneously. While you remain uncreated, unperceived. As the uncreated, there is nothing lacking. And there is no beginning and ending. To that which is the reality of being, which you imagined to be a body-mind. Your imagination that you are a body-mind, no matter how powerful this belief may be, means nothing. You can imagine yourself to be a pink flying elephant and imagine yourself flying across various cosmos realms of galactic realms. Means nothing. Because illusion has no significance whatsoever. Imagining yourself to be a person existing in time and space, being subject to various experiences and conditions and traumas, is your myth. It means nothing whatsoever. It only has the meaning that you give it. The storyline that you choose in this moment to maintain a storyline about consciousness as a me. You give power to feelings and images which have no power of themselves outside of the power that you give them. You being infinite power, infinite potential, the infinite potential of consciousness. You know yourself as I. You don't need to add on to it. I is somebody. You don't need to add to I this moment, the reality of awareness of consciousness. You don't need to add a personal story, images and storylines and narratives and feelings and sensations and images. Because I stands on its own. It does not arise out of thoughts and sensations and images. It does not arise out of brain activity or electromagnetic fields. you separate yourself somehow, and then you search for yourself, while all along you are whole and complete. Notice how right now in this moment your experience is seamless. Notice the stillness, the peace, the alive stillness. The background of your experience right now, which is coming into the foreground, so that the background and the foreground are one, merged together. As the ocean and the waves merge together, they're merged together. The experiencer and the experienced are not separate. Nothing lacking. Peacefully being, the peace of being. So if you have any questions, anything that you would like to explore, please make sure you unmute yourself, and you're welcome to turn on your videos. So any questions?
Magdi,
Hello, Nathan.
hi. I just want to share something that that I experienced. I had a busy weekend, and I went to do shopping with my wife, and I took the opportunity also to have a haircut. And it was a very busy place, lots of people talking, coming, going. But I sat in the chair and just let this gentleman take care of my hair. And I just closed my eyes, just kind of let go of all the activities of the days and the tiredness and everything. And there was this very strange but unknown thing that was watching through me, but not me. And all the noises and the thoughts and sensation, everything was just known. They were just seen, but it was not me. There was complete effortlessness. And it was like it was a completely unknown, a something which was all encompassing, to which expressed itself as me at that moment. And there was a sense of wonder with this, a wonder and opening, an abandon to it, because it took me, I didn't take it. There was no effort, orchestration or anything. Because usually when I try to meditate, I kind of try to conjure something. There was a little subtle effort of following the words, following the suggestions. And this kind of happened on a completely different level, with no words. And there was no words. There was just this presence that was all-knowing and unknown. It was shapeless and was everywhere. And it didn't matter that there was no silence or stillness, that everything was happening. It was just movement. And I was kind of taken by it, humbled by it. So that's what I wanted to share with you and with other people in the group. There's no me, there was no me, there was something that's taken me with itself, as it were.
You have to make sure you give a good tip to that barber, you know. You never know, like how this continuity in the sense of me can be triggered. Can be triggered sometimes just in the middle of downtown New York, you know, something can trigger this outside of the mind, this sort of as if you're sort of piercing through the mind or piercing out of the mind into the presence which is always there, which is this borderless aware presence. I remember years ago, it must have been in 68 or 69, I used to attend college. It was my first years of college. And I used to go to the dining room. It was a large hall, hundreds of people, sort of benches and large tables. And used to have a snack or luncheon. And I would sort of get into this zone where there is this silence and yet I'm hearing everybody. Sort of, it's as if, not like hearing anything distinct, but all these sounds, like vibrations in the space. Somehow it really resonated. Something resonated in that that way of listening. It was as if the whole space was a listening space in a way. But once you contemplate that, in fact, there is no reality to a separate self, to a separate listening center. That there is a listening instrument or a hearing instrument, but that the listener, that which listens, is not necessarily local. Yes, that in this moment there is a locality to the apparatus, but there is no evidence whatsoever of a locality to that which listens, which is the I. If you contemplate that and you get a sense of that, then your experience in this moment and every moment is in fact this listening space, this perceiving space, not a local perceiving object or local perceiving apparatus, but it's as if the entire realm of being or entire realm of awareness is in this moment this perception, meaning the entirety of the perception is awareness itself. There isn't a limited structure or a particular structure that we actually experience in this moment of perception. We may experience a feeling that I am a limited structure or I am a specific structure. But the feeling itself is just a perception. And the perception is in no way an evidence that the perceiver is a specific structure or is some form And once we get to the clarity that, in fact, there is no ground upon which we can base our belief that that which perceives is a limited, specific consciousness made out of whatever it's made out of. Once we get to deep clarity that there is no such evidence, the fact of perception still is undeniable, but the belief that there is a limited perceiver fades. So perception remains, like in this moment perception is. One could say that the perception has certain qualities, certain colors, certain shapes, certain sounds, but simultaneously, due to the undeniable reality of perception and the lack of evidence that there is a specific perceiver, then the specific aspects of the perception merge in the reality, the formless reality of perception. So that the entire field is a perceiving field. Not only it is perceiving whatever it is that it is perceiving, but it also inherent to itself, it knows that it is perceiving. It knows that it is the perceiver. I know I am, and I know that I am aware. This knowingness of I am and I am aware and I know that I am aware is mistakenly assumed to be only when there are perceptions, phenomenal perceptions. In other words, there is the assumption in ignorance that awareness is contingent upon perception. Meaning the formless reality of awareness is contingent upon brain activity or thought perceptions. This belief gives precedence to perception over awareness. Assumes that there is a higher reality than awareness, which is phenomenal, which is the world, the mind, the body. So one may wonder if the reality of the world is precedent to the reality of awareness, then the world can exist independent of awareness. There is a big assumption that's not backed by our experience of awareness. And if the substance of awareness is matter or the world, then the noumenal arises out of the phenomenal. But the noumenal is observable, measurable, can be calculated and formulated at least to a certain extent. So one may wonder, what is it that's observing it? Is there another reality beyond the reality of awareness, which is observing the phenomenal realm, measuring it, calculating it, studying it? Like another mega reality that transcends both matter and consciousness? And the only way to accept that model is to believe in it. But then one may wonder, well, what is it that is believing in it? There must be something that is believing in the model of a mega reality that is observing the phenomenal realm that creates consciousness, the phenomenal realm being the creator of consciousness, supposedly. So then one may wonder, what is the reality beyond that? So we quickly notice that we're going into an iterative mental process, which is taking us completely away from our direct experience in this moment and every moment, which is that I am and I am aware. I perceive the body, I perceive the mind, I perceive phenomena. Thus, there is a precedence. Phenomenal realm is subsequent to the noumenal. You know the experience of at the barber is a glimpse of understanding and experiential understanding of being, which is not being Nathan or being somebody. But it's not an object to be pursued, have to be watchful of that. It's a glimpse into reality. And reality is right now, this reality. It always is, reality always is. It's that which cannot not be. You may wonder, where is it, what is it? As soon as you wonder, where is it, what is it, you have objectified it. whether you objectify it as an experience you're looking for now or an experience that you had, it still has been objectified, and whatever is objectified is not it. So in the absence of objectifying reality, obviously there is a reality right now. The reality of what? The reality of consciousness. It's effortless. It's not seeking anything or lacking anything. It's not trying to improve itself. Sometimes it is said, it is that which you are, that which you're looking for. I am that which I am seeking. But if I am already that which I'm seeking, then there is no seeking. Makes no sense. There is no seeking. It could be. It's just an illusion. So the question is, why do we seek? We seek, not to deny that, because of the belief that we are something, somebody. We are some form, something. We're always seeking that which we don't have, but if we already are this reality, already are this consciousness, we already are this transparent presence, if that is the case, then we need to see through the illusion of seeking. And to see through the illusion of seeking, we need to see through the illusion of the seeker. Because seeking requires a seeker, and so we look into the seeker. And we find that the seeker is just a belief that I, that which is the reality of consciousness, am a personal body-mind existing in time and space. So we look into that belief, you say. And we live with that interest. We live with the interest in that inquiry. So it's a living inquiry. It's a living inquiry because you are living either being or being somebody. When you are living being, just being, then you are living the peace of being, which is not a state or an experience, it's just our natural state. But when you are living being somebody, your living experience has unhappiness in it. And because you are interested in the truth, then you have innumerable opportunities to see the association between the belief that I am somebody and unhappiness.
Yes, it really resonates in me. You put it very beautifully, Magdi. Thank you very much.
I still think you should give a good tip to that barber.
I'm going to come back there.
Okay, Nathan.
Thank you.
Hi, Karim. I see your hand is up, yes?
Yes. Hi.
Hi, Karim.
I just have a question, and I think it's related to the seeking point that you just mentioned.
Yes.
And it's also related to happiness. I know in a lot of times you talked about happiness as a barometer that actually guide us in our inner path. And maybe it's something that's related to my previous experience growing up and being in different kind of spiritual paths, especially on the Sufi side. But I always, when I contemplate on the body mind, and I contemplate on ultimate reality or consciousness or God, I see that I am more at peace to see that I am one with ultimate reality than saying I am ultimate reality. And it goes back to what we say in Sufism as who instead of I am who, which is the one. So I just want to get your perspective on that, like on this point. And again, it might be related to me growing up and learning on the Sufi side.
Yes. Whatever works for you, Karim. I am one with God, or I am God, is the same. It's the same formulation, but whichever formulation touches your heart is the formulation that would be appropriate for you, obviously. But I would not make a problem out of one formulation versus the other, because both formulations express our truth, our reality. Whether sometimes we say we are the children of God, or God is the Father, or God is the light, or God is the light within my heart, or I am God, or I am one with God. All these formulations, they come from the same understanding. So follow what speaks to you. In time, you will find that all the rivers merge into the same ocean, and that there is only one reality, and you can sing God's praises in so many ways when God touches your heart, when the light, God's light, is shining through you. It is always God which is singing her praises through you, whichever way she chooses to. And God is infinite freedom and therefore infinite expressions. In fact, God sings her praises in the song of a bird, in the way a river flows in the sunshine, in the gravitational field, in volcanic eruptions. In so many ways, God is singing its praises, its creativity, its potential. And through this particular body-mind, it is not different. The way God makes the sun shine, God makes you feel the love within your heart via the expression I am one with God. And for somebody else, I am God. And for somebody else, I am your servant. And for somebody else, thy will be done. And somebody else, just the silence. So it's beautiful that there is a certain meditation or expression that points you in the right direction. There is only one reality, one I, one truth, one self. That is perceiving through infinite minds out of its own freedom. That is expressing itself as infinite universes out of its own omnipotence, creativity. And the understanding about this reality is a sacred understanding. And it's the understanding that we fulfills us, fulfills us, and brings us back to our true nature, which is childlike innocence, and freshness, and love. And that's very sweet and simple.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, nice to see you, Karim. Any questions? Any questions? Hello, Holger.
Hello, Magdi. On all of your YouTube video, there's a small sentence at the bottom, and it says, "Awakening reveals that there is no one that awakens and that all is the sound." Can you say something about this?
Yes. So in our journey, we start with the impression, the belief, the feeling that I need to attain peace and happiness for myself. We are all engaged in the pursuit of peace and happiness for myself, for my family, my tribe, whatever, whichever way I define myself as this particular body, mind, or as an ensemble, my village. And we start with the belief and assumption that I am this person, I am a particular body, mind, a personal consciousness, a personal doer, a personal sufferer, a personal winner and loser. And so we live in that bubble in a way, trying to get to peace and happiness via all sorts of ways, you know, better jobs, better relationships, healthier body, freedom from tyranny, etc. But it's always maintaining the belief that I am somebody, a limited self, and that I will gain, I will attain peace and happiness somehow in the world, in the body, in the mind. And at some point, there is a sort of a shift. Either we realize it's not working, it's not the direction. We may get to despair and sort of give up temporarily. We go into lethargic state of submission and despair, but still the flame, the desire for peace and happiness is still there, but we sort of put it under the rug, under 3, 4, 5 rugs. We make sure that it's, in some cases. But for some, we we turn in a different direction. We turn to philosophy, to the exploration, to the inquiry into truth, into peace and happiness that maybe is not out there, not beyond, not in the world of imagination or sensation or perception. And God helps us. We get a glimpse in all of us here, actually, because we are truth lover. We already have an insight into truth. And so then the inquiry turns into, where is that peace and happiness if it's not out there? It must be within. So when we start to look within, we don't know where to look, because we don't know where within is. Because as we look within, we have objectified within conceptually. We still have an impression of being somebody, body, mind. So we're still looking within, but it's not really within, in that it's still objective. We're still looking in the realm of sensations, experiences, personal sensation experiences, because all sensations and experiences are personal at the level of perceptions and sensations. There is an objective aspect, and this objective aspect of our internal experiences is related to to still the remaining objectification of consciousness. And so when we are looking for peace and happiness internally via sensations, feelings, inner states, we don't find it. Because all experiences, all inner states appear and disappear. They are phenomenal. All phenomenal experiences relate to a separate observer, to a separate perceiver, not to God's perception, but to a separate perceiver. And we start to have some questions about that, because sooner or later the inquiry, the serious inquiry, leads you to the inquiry into the reality of a separate consciousness, which is primordial to our contemplation. The inquiry into the reality of a separate consciousness is an important doorway to the understanding. So once we start to question or to inquire into the reality of the separate seeker, and first intellectually we come to the understanding that it's not possible to be a separate self and at the same time be aware of the separate self. You cannot simultaneously be a person and that which is aware that you're a person. It cannot be both an object of perception, a specific, particular object of perception, and the perceiver in chief. You can come to that understanding conceptually, and then experientially, you come to the experiential understanding that awareness is real and is not personal. This insight is enlightenment. This understanding is enlightenment. Big word, but I don't use it that much actually. I prefer the word understanding. The understanding that there is no reality, no personal reality. There is no reality to a personal entity, that it's a program, a belief system, and a feeling system. You know, we feel that we are this person, you know. And that this belief and this feeling, they don't have a power. They don't have a power of their own, because they're just phenomenal appearances, sensations, thoughts, feelings. They have the power that we give them. So that there is no one to be enlightened is not where we start. In some teachings, they start with that and they sort of end with that, but it's because they started in the wrong place. It's just a conceptual, it becomes a sort of a motto, like a lip service to truth, but not coming from truth. It's just so maybe we should say there is somebody to be enlightened, and eventually there is nobody to be enlightened. Because our experience of that there is somebody is a real experience. And we do feel and perceive that we are the suffering person or the successful person, whatever. And it keeps changing moment by moment. Well, maybe week by week, whatever. So not to sort of say, oh, that's illusions, sweep it away. No, you have to sort of come to it. There's a path to it, to the understanding, there's a path. And the path doesn't start with, there is nobody to be enlightened. But yet, you know, sages can say that at any point in time, because they're saying it when it's appropriate to be said. So sometimes it's appropriate to say that right from the onset. You don't, it depends, you know. And it can sort of jolt the mind into just being shifted in a different direction, you know. Yes. So, in terms of awakening, reality is, and reality is not halfway, 80% or 70%. It is across the board. So we get glimpses of reality. We get glimpses of reality because we are under the illusion that that consciousness is separate and limited. So we get glimpses. Irrespective of our glimpses, reality still is. It's not waiting for anybody to get on board or not get on board. So in a way, what are we talking about? We're talking about somebody being enlightened. But this somebody that is enlightened or not enlightened is just a figment of consciousness's imagination.
So the enlightenment is the removal of the person.
Is the removal of the illusion.
The illusion of the
being
person.
a person.
Yes.
Because if the person was for real, you couldn't remove it.
Yes.
So like you're dreaming that you are a pauper in the village while, you know, you live in the penthouse in Manhattan, you know, or whatever in the, you know, in Hollywood, higher. But you dream you're a pauper in the village, you know, in the streets.
Yeah.
So when you wake up, and even when you were dreaming that you were a pauper, nothing has changed. You still are healthy and wealthy and safe, you know.
I'm still so fascinated by the harmony in life.
By the
harmony of life.
Harmony of life.
Just daily living. I mean, so many.
Yes.
There's so much harmony.
Yes.
So much.
But you know, life's harmony. Life is this moment. Life is this moment. So the harmony of life is the harmony of this moment, of the now, right?
Yeah.
So when you look at the harmony of now, what makes it harmonious? What makes the now harmonious? I remember, I think maybe I shared that once, I was crossing, I was on a sailboat, and I was crossing the Mediterranean from Corsica to the coast of southern France, to Nice. And it was like a 36, 38 foot sailboat, and the sails were up, and there was a storm scheduled for the next day. But the Mediterranean is unpredictable. So as we were like, maybe it's like a 24-hour sail, as we were like a 3-4 hour into the journey, the trip, then the storm started to come slowly a little bit, but then it came, you know, I mean, really came very, very serious. So as best we could, we took down the sail, which was very difficult because of the wind. And I was terrified because I had never been in such a storm, and the sailboat is not, you know, such a a huge vessel, you know. But everybody went down. There were like 4 people went down into the inside, but I couldn't. I decided to stay on deck. So I sat and I attached myself. There are like harnesses, and it was in the night, the evening to the night, then the night, and the wind and the waves, and so it was terrifying. I was terrified, but at some moment, I perceived like a certain dance of the waves and the wind and the boat, and there was a certain dance, and the mind shifted from terror to awe. It's like, oh wow, oh. The harmony, the word harmony, when you said, I sensed this harmony, and I was in heaven. I was like, wow, you know, like the lodge show, you know, when you go to the concert and you have the front seat show to the concert, I felt I was in the front seat of a magnificent show. It was magnificent. The fear, of course, disappeared, and just had a ball. I had a ball for a few hours. And so the harmony, here I was a second before it was terror, and the moment after is harmony. So the harmony is when we are not in the emotions, in the sense of separation, in the me worries and concern. Yes, you are right. It is harmony. Life is harmony. It's joy, it's flow, it's play. It's how we are with each other, you know. We can be playful with each other, with life, to work. You know, I was talking earlier with Nathan about the joy of working with other people, interacting, you know, with clients, with collaborators, employees, friends. When we change our perspective and we bring in appreciation of the simplest things in life, we can laugh together and experience hardships and difficulties together. But there is a lightness about it. Nothing at stake, nothing heavy, you know. That's enlightenment.
It's a very simple word. I mean, everything becomes lighter.
Yes.
And enlightenment. I mean,
yes, lighter enlightenment. Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
Enlightenment, you know. You know, in some cases, we are deeply into me, you know, in my life, and whatever our conditioning is, our specific conditioning, and there can be out of left field a visitation from God. Okay, God is always visiting us, never not. But I'm talking about like sort of a lightning or a thunder, you know. Of course, everything is God's creation, but sometimes there is a thunder or lightning, and it catches your attention in a different way, you know, awe. But it's just an introduction. These moments, these quotes unquote experiences are an introduction to the path. Sometimes we think that they are it, they're it. My experience was like that. My experience was a big bolt of lightning, unexpected. But then it was followed with, maybe 40 years, maybe 50 years, of inquiry and contemplation. So as an introduction, sometimes I know that in some cases, in some traditions, they make a big deal out of the awakening, awakening, Kensho or Satori. It's a little bit, maybe more than a little bit, it's misleading. Because understanding, many, many understandings, and the understanding that more and more established in various aspects of various facets of the diamond, of the jewel, reflect different lights, different colors. And all understandings, all insights in the understandings about truth have a cachet, a touch of God. They have the nectar. And some understandings, they like jolt you. Some other understandings, you may not even notice them. But it doesn't matter if you don't notice them, because they have God's whisper in them. So there can be understandings that are silent, unnoticed, and after the fact, you realize, oh, I'm no longer unhappy, or I don't remember when is the last time I was upset about such and such a thing that used to upset me. Or, oh, wow, it's interesting. I find that I'm enjoying my work or my children. It's like so sweet. It's like Francis sometimes says that, like, when you have a headache and you take a medicine, then the headache is gone, but you don't remember when the headache was gone, but you know the headache is gone. It's something like that. Because I came onto the path unexpectedly, without a tradition, without a teacher, without any sort of, in a thunderous way. For a while, I felt that that's in a necessary way. But the more I lived and experienced and met other people, had conversation with many people, and from my own understanding, I realized, no. Especially, I've met quite a few people who are trying to recapture a certain experience or a certain state that they experienced sometime. And the sense of lack or missing, or the me aspect that sort of wants to, still is healthy, you see. To notice that, so I started to realize, well, oh, that's another aspect of the ego, of the separate self, you see. And over time, I came to appreciate just the understanding, the contemplation, the love of truth, and the understanding about truth. Because love of truth and understanding about truth, they require each other, you see. So you can love truth, but still you can love truth as a separate me. And so the understanding about the illusion of the separate me is necessary, but it requires love for truth. So the understanding about truth, about the illusion of me, and the love of truth, they're together. So I actually don't use too much the term enlightenment or awakening, and sometimes I do, but because it's objectified by the separate subject.
But this is so beautiful with this phrase. Awakening reveals that there is no one that awakens, and that all is the self. I find this so genius. I mean, because you cut off the one who could be proud about some achievement.
Yes, right. It's very scary for the separate self, because the separate self is about its maintenance, about its existence. So when you tell the separate self, the goodies, you're not there. You're not there for the goodies. It rebels. This is why the Advaita, the path, the direct path, and the path of truth requires courage and determination and strength. I don't mean it in an egoic way, no, but it requires courage and strength and devotion and dedication. So it's not for everybody. At least not everybody at the same time. At some point, we're ready to commit ourselves, and the commitment is always like in the moment. In this moment, I'm afraid of letting go of my storyline, of my beliefs, of my feelings, of my position. It takes courage to let go of your position, of your beliefs, of your story, of your narrative. It takes courage to remain. In a way, it feels as if you're diving into the unknown, letting go of what you know, of what makes you you, makes you you, the me story. It feels like you're letting go of yourself, of something very precious. But you can never let go of that which is real. The reality never comes or goes. It is. Anything that you are letting go of is dispensable. It should be a word, lettable go of, is worthy of letting go. How about that? Is subject for the letting go chopping block, This is saying that that which is can never not be and that which isn't, never was, or something like that. I may be misquoting. That which is real cannot not be, and that which is not cannot ever be. What appears appears, and that which neither appears nor disappears is. And that's not a concept. In our direct experience, we know that that which appears and disappears is real, as presence, as awareness, as consciousness. But when we conceptualize consciousness, say, oh, well, no consciousness, blah, 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 the body, the brain, the afterlife, birth, the reincarnation, incarnation, Bardo spirits, we all go into the conceptual realm, but even the conceptual realm is not a problem because the conceptual realm appears in awareness, in presence. Nothing can ever negate awareness. It's not possible. That's the beauty of it.
Thank you, Magdi.
Okay, Holger, thank you. Okay. Okay, everybody, very lovely to be with you, Trish and Alan, Nathan, Holger. Hi, Frank and Karim, Mina.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thank you, Mina. Walter, a beautiful scene behind you there, Walter. Thank you for this show. George, Zoe. Hi, Zoe. Holly. And Patrick. Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Thank you, Magdi. Thank you.
See you, Lisa. Richard. Grace. And Marga. Beautiful Marga. Hello, Isaac. Lucas. And Desmond. Hello, Primera. Kelly. And salut, Shiva. Thank you all. Very lovely to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Magdi.
Your love and your friendship.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Magdi.
Thank you, Magdi.
Thanks, Maggie.